Good evening, Entropians. Julian McBain here, and tonight we are at Orthos oil field. That's over here. We're going to be hunting the drones here. I need to deal with my really low robot looter skill. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to go through an entire iteration of my Laconian sword, and then I will probably do some of my adjusted bookends. Make sure my inventory is empty. It is. Just to increase the that particular skill, because it's bad that I don't have what I need for robot looter. Like my animal looter skill's way up there. Well, I wouldn't say it's way up there, but it's level 13 or 14. It's respectable. And my mutant looter, which is like Phoephoids, that's at level 7 or 8, and that's largely due to... Oh, cool, I picked up a pistol. Speaking of which, I think I removed all the weapons that were in my inventory before. Yes. I found out I'd picked up like a bunch of Solomate Rubios. So we're just gonna see how far we can get. Oh, this is a good run already. Holy shit! Another Rubio, some shrapnel, and a B101. I must have hit like level 3, and that's where all the good stuff comes in for these guys. I mean, holy buckets. That B101 out of all of it is really, to me, that's the prize right there. And even though it's not full TT, no, it is full TT. Okay. Maybe the Rubio wasn't full TT. No, the Rubio is not full TT, not even close. Even though it's a really low level amp, it's a great starter amp, and it's still a decent amp for just kind of boosting up the, you know, I can still put it on my LR10 to get a couple of extra damage points out of it. Oh, look at all of these. I got too deep way too fast. That sounded wrong. I don't know how that happened all of a sudden. Oh, you know what? I bet someone else was hunting around here beforehand. So we're going to kind of retreat a little bit and try to draw the one that I damaged over there back. Come on. That's one thing I'm not real fond of about the way this is designed. It'll... No, there we go. It'll pop up that extra life bar. And then that tends to get dragged around as opposed to another B101 and some crude oil. Yeah, I definitely hit a level there. I'll have to look it up after. That's when you know you've mastered a particular level of mob for their looter skill, is when they start dropping a bunch of really good shit. Like for me, I get a lot of like animal muscle oil, other really important mats off of curbs and other things like that. But I don't necessarily get them off of drones. And now suddenly I'm getting all of this cool shit off of drones. And I mean, yeah, it's all low level. They're only level 2 prototypes. But to get 2 full TT B101s and a couple of guns off of these guys, that's not bad at all. I mean, I can go to Camp Icarus. And I can be real generous with it, too. Like, I can sell these Rubios for, like, TT plus 1 peck to a newbie. I'm making a little bit of money. They're getting a gun, which they can then turn around and use or sell for a slight markup. You know, I mean, it's... It's not a bad deal all around. Especially since on the auction house, a lot of them go for like a ped. Which is ridiculous because, I mean, the Rubio, it goes for 9... I mean, the max TT on a Rubio is 9 peck. And to be fair, for what they're used for, that's quite a bit. You can do quite a bit of hunting on a Rubio, a 9 peck Rubio, if you're doing like punies. And it's extremely ammo efficient. Like, extremely ammo efficient. It uses, what, 73 per shot, I think? Yeah. So give me just a second. We're just gonna kind of display this. Draw him back. Kind of get that out of our way. Come on. I mean, I know I'm badass, but I'm not that badass. I can't just stand here and tank shots all day. There we go. I'm really not badass. I'm mediocre at best, but another B101. But like, okay, so if we equip an LR10, I have 2,800 shots. If I equip Buchan's spare rifle, I have 13,000 shots. Now let's equip a Rubio. That gives me almost 30,000 shots with the same amount of ammo. And I know that, you know, I do depot, and it's a at a fairly standard rate. You know, nothing overly spectacular, but, you know, possibly more than the average. You know, a Rubio hunting low-level mobs. I mean, a newbie could definitely use that and save so much. Another frickin' Rubio? Jesus, I could become like the newbie weapons frickin' arms dealer to newbies. Maybe that's what my wheelhouse is. I'll just become an arms, you know, I'll just hunt these like super low-level drones all day, and I'll become like the ultimate arms dealer to newbies. Shit. An Azuro. Too bad it's not full TT. Come on, back up, you bastard. I don't like going in too deep into this, because that's when you get in trouble, especially since I'm not wearing armor. I never even thought of farming these guys. Another B101. This is like equipment heaven. Holy shit. Like, we have been out here for not even 10 minutes, 7 minutes. 7 minutes we've been out here. And the vast majority of the loot has been pretty fantastic. That's some shrap. Shrap is fine. I don't mind shrap. This boggles my mind at the number of guns and amps I've gotten off of this. Now, can this? Oh! I didn't know Rubio could take a B101. So what does the B101 do for its... Yeah, it adds 1 point of damage. Just the tiniest bit of burn. And I mean, on like an LR10, that's not going to make a huge difference. But for like Buchan's spare rifle, it totally makes a difference. And we're getting oil. Oil is good. I don't know. I might have to come out here and do some more farming out here. I'd be very curious to see what... Yeah, we broke level 3. Our reclaiming skill is 178.59. Which I think is respectable. How's our sword doing? Yeah, we're doing some wear and tear. Whoops. Ironically, this is not what I wanted to talk about tonight. I got totally flabbergasted by this run. Like, right off the bat, all of this. Like, this I expected all kinds of. And I don't mind getting shrapnel as long as I'm roughly breaking even. Right? But to get all of that equipment... I mean, 4 Rubios, a pistol, 1, 2, 3, 4 B101s, and then a Zero. 5 Rubios. And that one's full TT. That's amazing. Why aren't more people out here hunting these drones? And I mean, my robot looter skill is not much. But, I mean, what's the markup on a Rubio, of course, is way over jacked just due to the way that the market works, right? But it wouldn't take much. Holy buckets. I could flood the market. And I wasn't paying attention. I saw that I had a bunch of them in my inventory the other day, and I figured that I just picked them up over time and ignored him. Because they were winding up like down here for whatever reason. I happened to find them because they happened to drop way down on the list and I wasn't paying much attention. But I think what it, or that's what I thought, but I'm starting to think it was because I was here. But, wow. Holy crap. So anyway, what I actually wanted to talk about tonight was the essay I'm writing. As those of you who pay regular attention to my channel know, I'm currently working on an academic paper, and I'm not enrolled in any colleges right now. I'm just doing this on my own recognizance. Call me crazy, because I probably am. But I'm trying to put some significant academic rigor in, because I feel that video games as a medium, and not just artistically, but socially as a medium, have been maligned by the professional community. And we're not just talking like the bankers and the lawyers and stuff, you know, they don't give a shit. But like the psychologists and the school teachers in particular have really maligned them, because there are some negative, you know, there's some demonstrable negative effects to playing too much. Who are you? Senior traveler. Am I going to have to... He's wearing armor, but oh, he's just mining. Okay. If he's just gonna mine, I'll let him be. Like right now, I'm loaded for light, not for bear, not by any stretch of the imagination. And I don't want to interfere if all they're doing is mining. That's you know, this is a great place to mine. I still need to do a mining video. Sorry guys, my trip to Burka, that event, really kind of messed up the way that my week has been put together. And for those of you who have been watching the We Happy Few vids, I'm so sorry I didn't have one yesterday. I totally forgot to that I didn't have one ready. And then I realized that posting day was here and I was at work and there was nothing I could do about it. But anyway, back on what I was saying about maligning video games. I'm doing some research and I found the academic paper that was written after a tragedy, and it basically blamed the game Doom for what happened, which is it fails the test of a lot of things, not the least of which is academic rigor, but it's just categorically misjudging the way that video games operate as a medium and human interaction in general, because I mean, let's face it, human beings are an apex predator. That's what we are. And there's evidence to suggest that we're pursuit predators, which are the most tenacious and hard to stop predators in existence. So, one of the lines, and it was by, I've actually got the essay pulled up. Anderson and Bushman in 2001 suggested that video games teach how to aggress. And that really kind of touched a nerve. Because as human beings, we're predators. We're mammals, we're predators, and beyond that, we're apex predators. And our closest cousins are the chimpanzees, genus Pan, which I would argue should actually be reclassified as a different form of human being. And I understand the reason they haven't been yet. There hasn't been enough research necessarily to reclassify them, but since the test of being in the same genus is much lower for all other creatures other than humans and chimps, I would argue it would be an appropriate reclassification just on that. I mean, we share 99.5 of our, I think it's like 99.5% of our chromosomes are shared with both the common chimpanzee and the bonobo, both of which are the two genuses of Pan, which are, of course, the two species of chimpanzee. Not the two genuses of Pan, the two species of Pan, which of course are the two species of chimpanzee. And the fact that they would be willing to ignore the way that chimpanzees interact with each other is the way that we might interact with each other if there was no such thing, if we didn't have any social architecture in which to define the way we relate to each other. And now we're getting to more the social, the sociological and the psychological aspects of how we interact. Then perhaps we would be acting, and I mean, the way we act tribally is already very poignant in our society, and I'm not going to get into the socio-political aspects of that, but you just need to turn on a news station to see tribalism in even just in America, right? So could you imagine if there were no laws or social confines in which that we interact with each other? We do exactly the same thing the chimps would. We rip each other apart limb from limb. And chimps have attacked humans and killed them because they're extremely tenacious hunters. And they're extremely territorial, just like human beings are. And yeah, we've learned how to deal with, you know, we have socially learned how to not overreact to invasions to our territory, however that's defined. But at the same time, it's still there. That's why we're possessive. That's why we get jealous of our possessions. That's why we don't like to share. And again, this is just coming from an associate of science. I'm not exactly a PhD by any stretch of the imagination. Hell, I'd never finished my bachelor's, which is on my list, by the way. Although it'll probably be in a STEM discipline and not psychology. But this idea that video games teach violence is just, it's ludicrous. And I was discussing this with someone earlier today, and I suggested that if there is a media to blame for normalizing violence, it's probably television. And when it was countered that video games allow you to participate in the violence, I countered back with, does that mean that video games are normalizing violence and saying it's allowable, or does it provide a safe and socially acceptable outlet for what is nothing but a natural, something naturally that comes to us? I'm looking at this and I still can't believe the number of guns I have picked up off these guys. And now I'm just picking up like little tiny bits of shrapnel, which is fine, because it's still going to largely pay for the expense of the sword. I haven't used a whole lot of ammo. I'm flabbergasted. This is a good run. This is a really good run. So what I've been doing is I've been researching hunter-gatherer societies and how humans hunted animals, because there is evidence that we were persistence hunters. And for those of you that don't know, persistence hunters are hunters that chase after prey, not at speed, not like a cheetah. Like a cheetah is a strike hunter. I don't know what the official term for it is, but basically, if you're a cheetah, you go after prey really, really quick, and you either catch it or you don't. A better example of a persistence hunter would be, or a more current example of a persistence hunter would be like a wolf. Even a modern dog hunts the same way, although their endurance isn't nearly as high as that as a wolf. A wolf will run for days. That's all there is to it. Days. They'll chase after their prey. They'll snap at its heels. The prey will run until it's exhausted. Then it'll rest and it'll run again until it has nothing left. And then the wolf will move in for the kill. Human beings hunted in a much similar manner. Even modern hunters will often hunt in a combination of persistence or pursuit and ambush hunting, where the more skilled hunters will push the animal in a slow but persistent manner toward other hunters who are waiting. Usually the younger, less experienced hunters will be waiting in ambush, and when the prey animal comes into range in view, then the junior hunter will then take the shot. This is how, I haven't hunted in 20 years. It's not really my shtick. I've got no problem with it, but it's not really my shtick, rifle hunting, although I've considered going back because it's quite a bit of food you can put on your table for a very minimal expense. Oh, I'm almost out. The act of where was I going with this? The fact of the matter is that, we are predators, and we're apex predators. And we're apex predators because, frankly, the only things that hunt us are other apex predators. We're not hunted by mid-level predators, with the possible exception of the badger. But badgers are kind of the exception to the rule. Badgers just don't give a fuck. Okay, I have read stories of badgers in zoos who deliberately escape their pens to no shit pick fights with lions. Just because they can. So, before someone says that a human might have lost a fight with a badger, that doesn't hold currency, because badgers are just completely... They're freaks of nature, man. They're nuts. They just don't give a fuck. But think of the things that have hunted humans that you can think of. Lions, tigers, both apex predators. Bears, apex predator. Chimpanzees are an apex predator of their type. Well, that one might be arguable, but again, I'm also of the opinion that chimpanzees should all be reclassified as a form of human, as a species of human. But they don't have a lot of natural predators. And again, the only ones they have, to my knowledge, and I would have to do some research on this, are other apex predators. And it's not that the chimpanzee can't necessarily kill the big cat. It's that they don't necessarily have the means at this time. Humans develop tools. Chimpanzees have tools. I'm sure they can throw rocks at them. Now, whether or not they do due to the fear complex, that's a totally different subject, and that might be more psychological in nature, since we have noticed that chimpanzees have rudimentary form of government. Let's not call it government. They have a rudimentary form of tribalism. They live in troops. They have a social hierarchy, which I know social hierarchy goes, even the lobster has a social hierarchy, hashtag Jordan Peterson reference, but they have a well-developed hierarchy that is mutable. They understand teamwork. They understand the basic military tactics. Or, yeah, for lack of a better term, they understand basic military strategy. It's not the same as the way we would do it. Not by any stretch of the imagination, but they understand, ambushing your opponent. The difference between enemy and friend. There we go. And see, that shrapnel would have been something really good. Maybe it would have been a higher ranked Azuro. I don't know. I still can't fucking believe all of this. 10 guns, and 4 amps. I'm not complaining. I'm miffed. But yeah, I mean, the idea that a video game teaches a person how to be aggressive is patently absurd. And so that's going to be a part of this essay that I'm writing. And I've got more research to do. I have a lot of research to do. I have all kinds of different arguments I'm trying to make with this paper. And I'm going to present them here as I develop them. And eventually when I finish the paper, I will post it somewhere. I don't know where. I don't know how. I am going to try to find a couple of academic resources above my level. So I'm not going to say it's going to be peer reviewed, because these people won't be my peers. They're going to be far superior to me. But I do know a couple of PhDs, and I'm going to ask them to review it for academic rigor. And as long as it's at the bachelor's level, I will be satisfied. And if it happens to be, in their opinion, above that, I will be flattered and frankly astonished, because wow. But as long as it reaches the academic rigor of a bachelor's paper, like a capstone, that will satisfy me. And I'm not putting any sort of length goal or anything like that on it. I'm trying to make my point. And my point is that inside of a video game, particularly an MMO, where you have a lot of social interaction, whether it's in Entropia or WoW or Fallout 76 or anything like that, your true personality really comes out. Your true personality not defined by social construct. With the possible exception, there are without a certain level of consequence, you can push beyond your natural limitation in certain personality traits, like in Fallout 76, because people respond and there's no permanent overall, there's no lasting damage to a person. If you become a raider, it's all in good fun. But at the same time, it still means that there's a part of you that gets an adrenaline rush out of killing and looting. Which I get, that's a very primal instinct. I'm not criticizing the fact that people get a rush out of it. From a constructionist standpoint, I guess would be the best way to put it, and I'm probably misusing the term. Obviously, it's not socially acceptable, especially in a modern context, but since we're in a virtual environment, death has no long-term lasting effect or permanency. Maybe that's part of the reason why modern sociologists and psychologists don't like video games very much, is that it prevents kids from really developing that sense of permanence. I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to really think about. So, now I wish I had really paid attention to what I started with, which I should have. That was my fault, and I apologize. But I really want to know what I came out with. We've been here about a half hour. We're kind of knocking on that 30-minute mark. Sorry, I had to reply to a message. We're kind of knocking on that 30-minute mark. So let's see, in 30 minutes, what kind of loot did we get? And, I mean, percentage-wise, I think there's going to be a lot of markup. I am astonished at the amount of crap that we pulled out of that area. Raw numbers-wise, I will be surprised if we broke even. Oh, we might have broken even. I wish I could go back while the video is running and just see what we started with. I mean, obviously, we didn't go through a whole lot of ammo. In fact, I don't even know that we went through 2 ped worth of ammo. We went through a whole sword, which is 8 ped, which will kill more than our shrap value. So for that, we know that we're kind of losing ground. So for this one, because we didn't really go through a lot of ammunition, let's just say as long as the total amount of shrapnel doesn't overpower the total amount of decay, we'll call it a win. And we'll treat our ammo loss like we normally treat standard decay. So it's not a perfect methodology. I should have really thought about it ahead of time because I didn't think I was going to be using my Buchan's rifle in any real capacity, but I wanted to get those last couple of kills in. Because yeah, we just crossed the 30-minute mark, and to me it's important to make sure my videos are at least of a consistent length, even if occasionally I spaz on the schedule. But yeah, next time we do this, I think I'm gonna hunt a little more in Orthos and just see how it turns out. I need to do a mining run there too. I got to get back into mining. I really do enjoy mining. It's nice and cathartic. You don't have to be paying it too much attention. You just have to make sure you don't run into anything. And Orthos pumps out a bunch of oil. Oh yeah, we got 47 pecking crude. Wow. Interesting outfit. Very pastel. Not my shtick, but if that's what she likes, hey, no problem. And again, I'm going to assume gender based upon avatar, not based upon who the player might be. Or let's not say assume gender. I'm going to gender my conversation based upon the... Holy fuck, it's the Human Torch. Gotta say, that's kind of awesome. Well done to who... Hammer and Sickle. If you really believe in the ideology, I can't say I agree with you for that, but well done on the Human Torch motif. So let's see what we got for loot. Holy buckets. I mean, it doesn't look like a lot because it's not a huge amount of money, but I mean, 9 rifles, a pistol, and 4 amps. 9 rifles, a pistol, and 4 amps. And then we'll drop in the shrap and the oil. Oh. So we came out with 9.67 in loot. Let's go over to repair terminal. We'll repair all. We went through 8.11. Did I use my healing? Oh, I did. Yeah. Bugger. So, we made 1 ped 56, and that's before markup. I'd call that a win. I'd definitely call that a win. No arguing with that. And I bet I could step outside and offer Rubios for cheap, and they get bought up pretty quickly. So, alright guys, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate all the support I've been getting. I'm watching my viewership slowly trend up. I really am thankful for the 43 follower or the subscribers I have. I'm hoping to see that go up in the near future. You all have a very wonderful evening.